Welcome to the Woodpreneur Podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larziliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur Podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur Podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur Podcast. I'm your co-host, Steve Larziliere, and
Jennifer Alger.
So Jennifer, today we don't have a guest here today, but I wanted to just get on because I haven't had a solo episode in a while. And so now that you're, the host and co-host, I want to build upon just people get an insight as to what you're thinking about the wood industry, the lumber industry, and quite frankly, start serving that side of the wood industry a lot more. So what I want to talk about today is just almost like the state of the lumber and sawmill industry. What are you seeing on your end? You have I don't think that people truly understand who you are aside from, Far West Forests. You're a leader in the urban wood industry. You're an innovator in that space. You also sell a lot of, you handle the sales of wood misers on the West Coast. In addition to running Ancestry, your own software inventory. So I don't know, tell me, in all of your years of being in this space, how does 2025 stack up? What are you seeing from this side of things?
Yeah, great question. Well, I think you've known me long enough to know that whatever the state is, I go, where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity? Because when things are good in a certain situation, okay, well, there's an opportunity somewhere, there's an opportunity somewhere. So tariffs is something that's current. It doesn't matter whether you wanted them, whether you didn't want them. It is what it is. And now we have an opportunity to capitalize on that. We have an opportunity to go, okay, here's what is. What do I do next? And I think it is an amazing opportunity. There's that word again. I think it's an amazing opportunity for us to go, okay, how can we together sell American woods, and how can we work together? There's so many times that I see people just working against each other. And what if we paused for a second and went, wait, what if we worked together? What if we did a competitive collaboration or simply a collaboration? What would that look like? So that's what I'm thinking right now. How do we work together to capitalize on what is, to help each other out, to build each other up and do great things through it?
Yeah, so I'm doing some research that even as you're talking, it's so the 25% on Canadian Mexican goods, and this would be in addition to the existing 14.5 duty on Canadian soft lumber, potentially raising the effective tariff to nearly 40%. Wow. You know what? Listen, I was watching this guy the other day, and he was like, tariffs, is that going to affect everybody? And he was like, and the guy was, it was actually Grant Cardone. I don't know. You know that name? Grant Cardone is a real estate guy. Anyway, he was like, it's good. And he goes, you go to Germany. Do you see any Ford F-150s in Germany? And the guy was like, no. And he was like, yeah, because they promote literally they're a Mercedes-Benz taxi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mercedes.
this luxury item here, it's like there is just everybody's got a Mercedes Benz, everybody's got a BMW, like, you know what I mean? And so I know that, yeah, it just kind of, I've been a big proponent, obviously, of the American made goods too. And I feel like this is an opportunity right now. Where do you, how are Woodmiser, how have been sales been of sawmills?
There's the whole COVID thing where they spiked and people were waiting on their mills for 2 years. Sorry,
Yeah.
everywhere. But we're caught up, we're doing great. And then we're going, okay, well, we're starting to stabilize, what's next? And, it starts to slow down, but then it just starts coming in strong again. And I believe it's related to a lot of what's going on here. And I think it's going to really benefit American sawyers. So depending on where their markets are, it may not benefit immediately, but I think long term, I think there's a lot of opportunity here for sawyers, small portable sawmill owners, to really capitalize on this and really take advantage of it and build their own small, medium, and even large size businesses through it. Because there's, a lot of the regulation for tree removal is coming down. That could be good or bad. I haven't dove into the details of it yet. But what I know is a fact, and I've dove into these details extensively, is too much of our good wood is going to waste. And it's going and we're not utilizing it, all while we're importing stuff from everywhere. What will it look like when we start utilizing this right here in our own backyard? And it's good for the local economies. It's good for the tree. It's good for the environment. When we turn it into lumber here, it's storing that carbon. And I just see it as a huge opportunity.
Yeah. What do you sell a lot of in terms of lumber where in your neck of the woods? What type of species?
I'm in Northern California, and I mostly work in urban woods. And so we'll take anything that comes in from a tree service, regardless of species. We will take that and we will convert. If we're not getting a consistent supply of the same species in a comparable grade, we'll turn it into slabs. And because a slab, you can buy a one-off, or you can buy, 50 of them. It just doesn't matter. But there's, if it's like, we don't get a lot of hackberry. So all of our hackberry will go into slabs because we're not getting that consistent supply. But we can take oak, we can take walnut, we can take cottonwood and walnut, if I hadn't mentioned that one already, and we can make those into dimensional. And so those are the things that we're really starting to move a lot in that dimensional category. But other than that, in our slabs, we're moving a ton of that. And redwood. We're in Northern California, where redwood is plentiful, and we're selling both urban salvaged coastal redwood and windfall and storm salvage giant sequoia redwood. And so we've got a really big diversity mix. But once you move into dimensional, it really starts to narrow down.
Yeah. I'm kind of in real time doing some like research here. Is like, what are opportunities for small lumber producers? So because the dollar, it's going to potentially be 40% higher, that small lumber producers are going to be able to increase their prices as well to compete with the 40% here. So even if lumber producers are able to increase by 10-20%, they'll still be cheaper without having to gouge people. Because like, that's kind of the biggest thing, honestly, is like, you don't want to gouge the market. I mean, during COVID, there was literally no lumber anywhere, which is why, everybody started milling on their own. But it makes me think too that, like, I don't know, it feels like now's the time to just be serious a lot more if you're a lumber producer.
Yeah, absolutely. And that supply and demand, if we're not importing as much, we better be ready to match that supply. And so I'm telling people, when people are asking me, what do I do, in my business, do I expand? And I'm saying, mill, get it ready, because maybe I'm wrong, but have that inventory on the shelf. Don't leverage everything you've got to have inventory there. You want to make sure you've got some good balance, but have some inventory on the shelf, and make sure you've got blades. Make sure you've got all the things that you need to, if we see, as we're anticipating, if we see that ramp up and that trajectory just keep continuing to climb, you better have your stuff ready. You better be ready to go. Have those spare parts, do all of those things.
Yeah. What do folks need to do aside from the just having more like milling and milling lumber? What other things beyond the mill do they need to get ready for these times, you think?
They need to explore markets and cautiously collaborate with others, see what other opportunities are out there to work together to create markets in smaller, more cooperative type groups. Not necessarily a formal cooperative, because that has some, legal connotations to it, but cooperating in another sense. And what does that look like? And how can we work together to help create those markets instead of just everybody in their own little silos working on their own thing and protecting it and not looking out. I think there's room. I think there's so much room in this space. I've been saying it since I've been, for 25 years. I've been saying it since I found Wood-Mizer gave me a first platform at, sending me off to do these conferences. We can do so much more together, and not just for the environment, not just for the trees, but for our own businesses, for our own families. We can do more.